Alright, so, well, I guess I moved, whatever. So here's a scene anyway, so on exit it calls this terminate function, which clears out all the factories for cleanup and proper destruction. That sound placeholder, let me run there real quick. This is probably bad, but that is just a game object where I have my cheat code for adding score as well as the processing lists for all of the commands. Now back to the final thing, player manager. So here, yeah, so we set up all the lives, not set up lives, we initialize everything to nothing first, set up score, and then we set up lives, and then we automatically set it up to AI to begin with because we just call player manager instantiate within begin game, which always needs to start in the attractor mode. So that sets all the pointers. Not pointers. It creates the correct blaster with the correct pattern of AI, and then sets the instance of AI player to current player. And then this here is just to set up and link up HUD data correctly, which I could probably move to HUD. But nonetheless, I'm leaving it here because you said something about multiple things being needed with the player. You'll probably be on my ass about this later, but here's my private version of ifbeat, which is used later, which you will see in a few seconds. And then there's the get status for it, and here's high sports. This is just to set the high score itself to be registered for proper usage in update high score. So here's create player 1, which was used initially for testing, as well as player 2 and AI. This is swap players, which if you are player 1, you'll be swapped to player 2, again back in the day. And if you're a player 2, you'd be swapped to player 1. Same thing with AI. If you're AI, will be swapped to 1. Yeah, so here we have return your X or return your Y, or return current player, get your current score. This is set score, which if it's AI, it only adds to the current score if it's not the AI points or the AI player current. And if that is higher than your high score, then and only then do you set the high score to equal your current points, and then update the HUD accordingly. And you set your ifbeat to be true in that instance. And then within return lives, it just returns lives whichever one you are. Further out, if you specifically want player 1 or player 2 lives, that's there. There's my increased lives, which I was going to bound to if you get more than 12k, 120k. There's your decreased lives for every time you die. And here is the magical respawn. So within respawn, if you're player 1 and you have more lives than if your life is above 0, then you could call your standard respawn within Blaster, which then will call forth the mushroom respawn and then wave reset and then wave begin again. Otherwise, if you are out of lives and your get beat status equals true, meaning you are meaning your score passed the current high score, then that's when you call the very nasty, very messy insert high score with simply a string of PL1, since I didn't incorporate a keyboard input for title yet. Not yet, I just didn't. But yeah, that's there, as well as player 1 score, since that is your current player, and then you call reset game again. Otherwise, you're just normally calling reset game, which will bring you straight back to return game type 0, and within return game type 0, you just call your normal respawn, and here's delete all players. Um, yeah. So past that, I believe all that's missing is nothing. I believe I've gone over everything. I mean, if I really want to get into it, I guess I'd really like to figure out why my final state machine just refused to cooperate with me. But you know, something's better than nothing, right? And yeah, those I guess are all of my points, more or less. Just to do a quick overview, we've gone over how strategy pattern is used in the blaster input as well as the actual sound. Observer pattern is used multiple times, especially in my wave manager, for calling back active critters, and then the bullet itself allowing the player to look into the bullet to tell the player if it's ready. Simple factory patterns are pretty much all the factors except for, well, I wouldn't say except, it's more so there's additions to parts of it for computing purposes. Singleton patterns, all the factors are singletons. Majority of the controllers are singletons. The only ones that aren't are the ones that include alarms, such as this one, which we call destroy on, and have the destructor specifically for. So we could go to here, here. I forgot where to put it. Yeah, we have the destructor. Oh, I guess I could go a little bit over my design choice here. So here's the actual wave data, which I initialize all the V1s in case you forget something within the actual waves, and that's that. Oh, I could show that off real quick. Go to wave data. So check this out. So we do length. Let's do 10. And just do file save, and you load that bad boy up. Right. So this will be pretty nice. Past that, command patterns used for scoring. Used in scoring, and there we go. Look at that long boy. Yeah, he's so long. Yeah, so that actually controls that. Let's see, what else? Final state machine line is broken, but if you really want to, the states are there, I think, for most of them. I don't even remember. All I know is I took it out. I put something that worked back in there. You have observer pattern listed twice, so that's fine. Yeah, that's about it. I guess I'll discuss why I chose these specifically. So I chose this. So waves basically just to know which wave you're on specifically, so you know where you are. Centipede speed. I guess in the original implementation, it could have worked for actually changing up the speed itself, but since we're supposed to be using final state pattern, I'd have to create a strategy pattern for that, which I don't have the time to. Head speed, same idea. Centipede length is the one that actually affects the game. One of the ones that affect the game currently. Same with extra heads, which are there. And then the spider speed affects the actual spider speed, I believe, if I connected that correctly. If not, then whoop-de-doo, it's still set to the debug. So I opted out for not using any flea data, only because the flea specifically always spawns after wave 1. And just to show you, here is my comment file. It's just filled to the brim with everything. Well, not really filled to the brim with everything, but this I use this to make sure a lot of my not random, but a lot of the numbers I use in multiple places are constant, and I could just do an external reference to it, and it was very useful for debugging. But yeah, that's it. It's late. Yeah. Nah.